I have noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males of 22 episodes.
Yeah,
that
let's get into that.
No, but you
take a look over here, Peter. What do you see? A lot of whiteys. What's going on here? Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. It really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to.
Now, I noticed an older video circulating around Twitter, which is exactly what happens these days, given the way the monetization is set up on Twitter. There's absolutely no incentive whatsoever to provide context with video clips when you're trying to get people to, react to them. But hey, I'm not going to hate the player. I just hate the game. But there is, I think a really interesting interaction between Jerry Seinfeld and a BuzzFeed interviewer that you may not have seen. But on top of that, there's a new woke mob going after Jerry Seinfeld, a Jewish person, and you can probably guess why that might be. Now, I'm not going into any more conflict talk, okay? I'm just glad you're here to tune in. But let's talk about this clip, which is sparking more outrage on the left. So here's the clip where they're talking about essentially Jerry Seinfeld's show that was comedians in cars getting coffee.
Talk to?
I have noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males of 22 episodes.
Yeah, let's get into that.
No, but you
Immediately. This guy is yet another one of those programmed, programmed NPCs like that, because it's mostly white, it must be bad. Now, this guy probably wouldn't say that about the NBA or the NFL being mostly black, but I digress.
No, but you
take a look over here, Peter. What do you see? A lot of whiteys.
Exactly. Look at the demographics of the population. They're white people. I don't doubt that Jerry Seinfeld has black fans. I'm sure he does. But I'm sure the majority of them are white. And these are the people that would pay to see Jerry Seinfeld. These are people that watch his show. These are people he's friends with. There are a lot of very popular black comedians, okay? And I'm sure Jerry's had some of them on the show.
What's going on here? Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. Really pisses me off. People.
I love this. Now, again, I'm not sure exactly when this was filmed, but it was going back around. And then, there's obviously the new stuff.
People think it's the census or something? I mean, this has got to.
He's trying to laugh.
The actual pie chart of America. Who cares? It's
exactly. Who cares, he says. Who cares? Isn't that great? He says, what are we trying to do? Display the exact pie chart of America and everything we do. Who cares?
It's just funny. Funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested. Okay. And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that. But everyone else is kind of with their little calculating. Is this the exact right mix? I think that's, to me, it's anti-comedy.
Didn't you say that you originally conceived of this?
This soy-infused guy immediately changed the topic. And that's how these people are supposed to be dealt with. When you have like these weirdos who are counting how many black people or this, that, or the other thing. Like, some of the guests he's had were Barack Obama, Kevin Hart, for certainly on that show. I'm sure he had plenty of women. And look, let's just be honest. Men are funnier than women. Sorry. Did I do an ism? On the whole, Preparation H says that there are more male comedians than females. there's something to the biological need to impress people that kind of creates male comedians. Women, there are great female comedians out there. There are funny women. I think Tina Fey is very funny. I think that there have been Carol Burnett, very funny. It's not like women are, it's not like there are no funny women. I think, obviously, why can't I think of her name? The woman that played Elaine Bennis is funny. But when you look up in stand-up comedy, all you need to do is look at what your middle school classroom was like, or high school classroom, where boys were constantly competing for everyone's attention and to make people laugh and to, that's why you end up with more men in comedy. It's pretty simple. There's a lot of, testosterone and taking risks. And, oh, by the way, I forgot one of the funniest women of all time, Roseanne Barr. Okay. It's not like there aren't funny women. It's just that there are more funny men. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a problem. I think that you had this person just getting absolutely BTFO'd. And you see, he blasts critics of web shows' lack of diversity. Funny man Jerry Seinfeld isn't laughing over mounting criticisms of his show not being diverse enough. He thinks it's a bunch of PC nonsense. He has for years faced similar questions about the lack of diversity on a smash TV hit show that shot him to stardom. What? You're talking about Seinfeld needing more diversity? Well, it seemed pretty funny to me. You see, this really pisses me off, but go ahead. Really pisses me off. The aggressive move worked. The slime ball backed down. The interview immediately pivoted to a more pleasant topic, asking about a recent episode of 30 Rock creator Tina Fey. Seinfeld talked about the appearance and then took it upon himself to revisit the racial diversity issue. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? Funny is the world that I live in. If you're funny, I'm interested. If you're not funny, I'm not interested. And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that. He and his pal Jason Alexander did a mini Seinfeld reunion at the halftime of Super Bowl that year to hype coffee. I mean, then you have this article from late December. Woke mob goes after Jerry Seinfeld. The comedian is complicit in genocide because he's Jewish. I mean, I think that you have all these weirdos out there. You see, comedian Jerry Seinfeld's politically correct culture is ruining sitcoms. He's always been on the right side of this issue. And the actresses of Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah, a fun fact about her: she was always rich her entire life, from what I heard. But I could be wrong about that. You look at sitcoms, modern sitcoms. Now maybe there's some level of member berries here, but in my era, I feel like I lived through the golden era of sitcoms: Friends, King of Queens, Seinfeld. Even Parks and Rec, which was a little more PC, but not that crazy. I mean, you had a lot of great sitcoms in my era. I couldn't name one that's on now. Right now, the only thing that's really funny, is stuff that is old. I mean, I bet you I could put in Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and that's probably still funny. Cheers is probably still funny. And Cheers is a little bit older too, but I think that these are these are great shows. I think King of Queens is wildly underrated. Not only did it have an incredible run, it was diverse because they had Deacon. They had Arthur Spooner is one of the all-time favorite characters, our all-time great characters. Kevin James. And of course, my childhood crush also on that show. And it was just good and funny and even wrapped up, by the way, in the end. It's kind of a weird finale, but at least they wrapped it up. far better than Seinfeld did, I suppose. Everybody Loves Raymond is another one, right? Oh no, gender stereotypes. We got to stay away from that. There's a reason that I could put, Everybody Loves Raymond on anytime I want, and it's going to be a funny episode, or King of Queens, or Friends, or any of the shows I mentioned. And now is there even a sitcom on in 2024, 2023, 2022? Is there a long-running sitcom anywhere? Last Man Standing, I suppose, was one, which Fox canceled and then got picked up by someone else. I mean, it was wild. You see, Seinfeld wrote, when we did my show in the 90s, it was so easy to make fun of things. It was so easy. You just knew what to do, Seinfeld continued. You knew the angle and you're going to take, and you knew it was going to be fresh and it was going to be funny. Seinfeld, one of those popular comedies in the 1990s, poked fun at nearly everything people find offensive now: politics, religion, race, gender, romance, homosexuality, and other topics. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You know exactly where their head is at. Seinfeld's set of older sitcoms. We don't know where anyone's head is at now in terms of 300 million people. Where's their head at? It's not the first time Seinfeld called out PC culture. Despite his complaints, Seinfeld is still one of the most popular comedians. Forbes ranked him as the number 2 highest paid comedian back in 2019. Kevin Hart, who was recently injured, is number 1. And look at this, Jim Gaffigan was number 3. Shout out, second Jim Gaffigan reference of the day. Jim Gaffigan certainly has fallen a long way from grace, to say the least. So, shout out Seinfeld for keeping it real. You can always put these old shows on and enjoy them without, PC nonsense. And it's just, there's a reason for that. And, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. And if you're watching live, make sure you follow down below, because I'm live on Rumble every single day at 1 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. I would absolutely love to see you on my ever-growing live show.